Hey friends, welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Realty, and it is a beautiful May day here in Johnson City. It's a little allergic. Everybody's sniffling and carrying on because we've got lots of pollen in the air, but that's all right. I'm excited to be out and about, and I am excited for you guys to meet my new friend, Ryan Buds, owner of Trivia with Buds. And just getting to know him a little bit right off the jump, he is an interesting character and has met tons of people. So I'm super excited for you guys to meet Ryan. Ryan, welcome to the podcast.
Colin, thank you so much for having me. What a joy to be here right in downtown Johnson City. I've lived here about 2 years, and this is one of my favorite areas to hang out in.
Yeah, downtown is awesome, isn't it?
There's a lot of walkable, fun stuff to do, from Mulligan's Gaming Pub, which is one of my new favorite places to go see live music or play a game, have a Guinness, to the library where we go with my kids. That's like one of the nicest libraries we've ever been a part of.
And it's been around for like 20 years. Like they were like future visionaries when they built it.
It's like a Barnes and Noble disguised as a library. It's got everything you need. So we love taking the kids there. And I host trivia at places that you can walk to from here, like Watauga Brewing, Tennessee Hills Brew Distillery across the street.
Yeah.
And yeah, just love being down here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. All right. Johnson City Living Podcast. What is your favorite thing about living in Johnson City?
I'll tell you, I grew up in Chicago till I was about 25.
I was going to say, you don't sound like you're from around.
I've got one of those long A's. People always yell at me for words like ma, pop, garage, couch, college. Those are the 5 or 6 words. People are like, where are you from? Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So I grew up there, moved to LA with my wife, started our family out there from 2012 to 2021. And we just hit 2 years here in Johnson City. And I would say my favorite thing is the seasons. We haven't had seasons, living in California for 10 years. So I miss those, but I love that the seasons are not as harsh as Chicago. So that's a huge thing. I love leaving my house and being able to take a different route to wherever I'm going. To go to the same places, because I am not a creature of habit. I'm very much a person who loves variety. So I love taking a different turn or finding a new farm road to go down to get, here, for example, today. I love that. In California, you really have to stick to a few different directions.
Right.
And most of the time, those highways are jammed up and you're stuck in traffic. So I love the freedom of living around here. I would say in the 2 years I've lived here, I have not had one instance of what I would call traffic, that didn't last more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that is a breath of fresh air.
That's what we call traffic.
Yeah. It's a breath of fresh air, and then literally it's a breath of fresh air because there's no smog, or less smog probably than California.
How did you choose Johnson City from LA? I mean, there are a few cities in between.
Sure. Oh, yeah, just a few. Nebraska, great,
I mean, Kansas, you could have stopped off in there.
Yeah.
But you chose to keep driving.
We just kept driving. We stopped here. We would always visit my brother in Chattanooga. So the 10 years I lived in LA, my older brother lived in Chattanooga, and every year we'd visit him and we'd go, why don't we live somewhere like this? It's so much nicer. And And so when we were thinking of moving from California to buy our first house, we said, let's get a place that's like Chattanooga, but lower population and just somewhere kind of like new for us to explore. And we found a Facebook group called Moving to the Tri-Cities, and every post and question and everything we had was answered in that group. So we just decided to kind of make the move. We came out, looked at a house, and we bought it like the next day. And
nice.
We moved a couple months later. So
that's awesome. I need to get on that and start doing that, because that's what I want people to do, is just say, hey, we're going to move there and buy a house, which is what we're getting a lot of. People are moving here like crazy, as you're seeing.
Every member of my family and friend group from mostly Chicago that comes to visit is like, we want to move here, So I think once people realize that you don't have to live in the same place your whole life, that once they finally get that idea, they're like, oh, okay, let's.
Yeah, and during COVID, people realized like, oh, instead of looking at a cubicle, I'm looking at my house wall or whatever, and I could be looking out my window and looking at mountains and lakes and all kinds of awesome stuff.
Love it.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to do in Johnson City?
Favorite thing to do in Johnson City would probably be just driving around, kind of like I mentioned, and finding new venues, finding new places to hang out, finding new places to take the kids. We've never lived in a place that had more activities that are usually free, by the way, to do with a family. California had some, here and there. But again, they'd be like hard to get to, or like, oh, can we even make it? Or will a truck be on fire on the way there?
Yeah.
more automobiles on fire than anywhere I've ever. Actually, the only place I've ever seen automobiles consistently on fire is California. And here, it's just like, oh, that's 5 minutes away. Let's go. Let's take the kids to the Apple Festival or the pumpkin thing or the free
Why
craft
not? It's
at the
5
library.
minutes away, where instead of an hour away.
Exactly. So we love that. My kids are 5 and 8. So
Okay.
my youngest is a boy named Tommy, and he's starting. He's starting kindergarten in the fall, and so now we're his mom and I are at a point where we're like, oh no, all the kids are going to be gone, for most of the day. We got to get some hobbies. We got to get some stuff going. So I just joined a gym for the first time in my life at age 37, and I'm loving it. Loving going to the gym. Been going about 2 months, and that's a lot of fun too.
Which gym you headed to?
We do the wellness center, Ballard Wellness Center.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
I'll probably see you there sometime.
How often do you go?
I go probably about 5 days a week.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to go 5 times a week. We're working on a back injury, but I'm getting back in there.
You got houses to sell.
I got houses to sell. I got stuff to do. Yeah. So I'm assuming when you were a kid, you weren't like, I long to be a trivia game host.
Yes, that is very true. It's
Or maybe it was.
Yep.
Maybe you were like, hey, Wink Martindale, I like what you got going on.
I did love game shows at an early age,
Yeah.
but I never imagined, I didn't even know what a trivia night was till I was probably 25-ish. And I would say, I did do this though. This is a very nerdy thing I would do. I would watch The Price is Right in the summertime. So let's say maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th grade summers. And it came on at 10 a.m. On CBS in Chicagoland. And I would watch The Price is Right, and I would write down the names of all the contestants, what they bid on, what the winning bid was.
Seriously?
So I would kind of keep stats. And this was way before, we used the internet daily. So this was probably like 93, 94, 95.
Right.
And so I would write this down. I had this like Price is Right notebook, and it would just have, Alejandro, new laundry set, and stuff like that. And then, lost the Showcase Showdown. So I did do that.
So like if you were going on, you would know pretty much what everything was worth in their Price is Right world.
Yes.
'Cause like a washing machine, they'd be like, oh, it's $800.
Exactly.
And it's really only $400.
Exactly. And so I would know that world, like you said, and some of the terminology and the bids and things like that, and when to use the $1
Did
thing.
you make it happen? Did you get on there?
I never got on there. I do have some
Nice.
friends that have been on there. It's kind of a process. You have to go and line up, and you have to really amp up your
I've heard
personality.
you have to be super excited.
You have to be like
dress a little
kind of a
interestingly.
goofball to get their
Yes.
attention and stuff. And I can do that on occasion and have done that on occasion, but Wheel of Fortune's the one I would love to go on.
Yeah.
I think that's the one I could do the best on and I would have the most fun on. And I did try out for that, but I did not get onto the stage to then further the process.
Oh, man.
It's sort of a raffle at the live events to do that. But
Okay.
yeah, I did not think I would be a trivia host. I did want to be a comedian at a pretty young
really?
age, probably age 13, 14. My brothers, I have 2 older brothers who are 10 and 12 years older than me, and they would introduce me to stuff that they grew up with that I necessarily was, 10 or 12 years behind. So they'd be like, you got to watch Airplane. You got to watch
yeah.
Eddie Murphy Delirious.
Oh,
you
my
got to
gosh.
watch, these things. So I stumbled upon those right as I was kind of getting into high school. I saw Eddie Murphy
So they were
Delirious.
kind of bad influences on you.
Yeah,
Basically.
they were, yeah. And
Still are, probably.
Probably. But I did want to do what he was doing. I was like, this crowd is so hot for every joke he's saying. I'm like, how can I do that someday? So that did plant that seed of wanting to perform, wanting to make people laugh. And I performed. I was on speech team in high school, did all these humorous events. I was in the plays every year. And then in college, I started doing stand-up and had some semi-successful moments with that from probably 2006 to 2017. Haven't done it, I would say, like a proper stand-up show in about 5 years. But I opened for comedians like Dennis Miller,
nice.
Zach Galifianakis,
Yeah.
the Wayans brothers, and had some really good touring memories from those years, and did comedy full-time for a living for a couple of years.
Nice.
Moved to LA in 2012 and kind of pursuing entertainment. I got to be in a bunch of bad movies and worked on weird TV shows. And then I ended up on Ridiculousness, the clip show on MTV, as a segment producer, finding the clips that we aired on the show. From 2014 to 17, I worked on about 300 episodes of that show.
Wow.
And it was a really fun experience, but I always did the trivia thing kind of came into the stand-up world. I had a friend who was hosting trivia events in Chicago, and he said, hey, do you want to host some trivia? I'm looking for comedians to kind of make these trivia nights a little bit more entertaining. And that was around 2010. I fell in love with that and kind of started doing that as a side hustle from 2010 to now. And I've hosted about 13,000 trivia events in the last 13
Holy
years,
smokes.
which is about 1,000 a year because I do a lot on a daily basis, and I have other people host them for me now, and I do a lot of virtual stuff or in-person stuff. So this weird side hustle has kind of taken over my life. And in 2017, I quit ridiculousness to do this full time, and it's been smooth sailing ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I would think you'd be looking to go on Jeopardy because you've heard every question ever asked, ever.
It's interesting. I watch Jeopardy and I know like a quarter of it because it's a lot of the trivia that I include in my trivia nights, and the trivia I like to play is pop culture based.
Right.
Movies, music, television, video games, comic
More
books, stuff like
mainstream
that.
stuff instead of
Exactly.
Like, what's the
Instead
missing
of
atom on?
Yes,
whatever.
instead of the academic stuff. And I do try and make sure that my weekly trivia nights in California and in Tennessee kind of show that off. And people will say, I like that your trivia is not super brainy because I'm not a brainy person.
Yeah.
And if I was going to this trivia night, this is what I would want to play.
Right. Like I've got a shot. I'm going to actually know something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you're hosting in LA and here now? Do you have other locations? Or?
Yeah, so I have about 30
Talk
locations.
to us about the whole,
Sure,
whole
I have about
business.
30 weekly locations that run right now, and there's about eight in the Tri-Cities, and I have about 22 in California. And I'm looking to expand into Florida and Illinois, where I'm from, by the end of the year with a few more. The goal is to have about 50 by the end of this year. And basically these bars and breweries, they pay me to entertain a crowd and bring a crowd in on a certain night of the week that might be slow, like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And we put on a 2-hour game. The game's different every week, but I make one game and I send it to all the locations.
Okay, so you're producing the game too.
Producing the game. I've been
Nice.
doing that for 13 years, every
wow.
single week. I get a kick out of it. I do enjoy that. And then I love hosting the events myself. And some of those skills from doing stand-up and hosting different types of events over the years, those come into play while you're hosting the game. So I do a little crowd work. I get to know the audience. And that keeps people coming back, hopefully because they like the game, but also because they like the host. And I try and, kind of transfer those skills to the host that I use in California and around here in Tennessee. And it's just this constant building and adding more locations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're kind of franchising it out.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's a lot of fun. It's not a ton of hours per week spent doing the load of the job, really.
Right.
It's so like we were talking about going to the gym. That was something where I'm like, I don't really do anything during the day on certain days. I can go to the gym.
I can go to the gym. There you go.
But like today, for example, I have a few virtual events to do. I do a lot of virtual trivia, especially when COVID hit. I had to figure out, okay, especially in California, everything closed.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do now? And so I started doing these live streams on Facebook where I would do my full 2-hour trivia show, but I would do it every single night on Facebook. And people would watch and they would tip me on Venmo and PayPal.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't go anywhere either. And there were certain nights I'm making $1,000 in tips. And I'm like, this is more money than I would have made if I was out.
Unreal, yeah.
And so I did that consistently for about the whole first year, like March to March of 20 to 21.
That's awesome.
And then it started to kind of peter out. Things started to open back up. And then we started to do trivia back in person again. But during that time, I started to get hit up by a lot of businesses and agencies that were like, hey, we saw you're doing trivia online. Can you entertain a group of 50 marketing people from Microsoft? And I'm like, sure, I could figure out how to do that. And so then I had to learn that world of Zoom and virtual hosting. And between March of 2020 and now, I've done about 1,200 virtual trivia shows.
How awesome
and so there were certain days I've done 6, 7, 8 of those in a day for companies like Netflix, Google, Disney, Marvel, YouTube, you name it. Got to host trivia for the cast of Family Guy when Comic-Con was kind of hosted at home in 21. That was awesome. I got to host trivia a couple weeks ago for the cast of Ted Lasso. One of my favorite shows of all time.
Mine too.
It was an honor. I got hit up and the Apple said, can you fly out to LA and do this quick thing? And I said, sure. Yeah. So I flew all the way there. It's like a 10-hour with layovers and stuff to get there. And then to get back to the Tri-Cities, another 10 hours. I was in the town for 24 hours. And my whole segment was probably 24 minutes. It's like, but I said, how did you guys?
I'm sure it was lucrative.
Yeah. I said, how did you guys find me? They said, we just Googled trivia host. And I was like, well, I'm glad that worked.
Yeah. I wonder if it just eats up the Apple execs to say we Googled something.
Yeah.
I bet they want their own search engine. We Appled it.
We Appled it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have pretty good SEO, like search engine optimization for what I do. But I think when people are looking for someone to host something kind of on the high end like that, I think it helps that when you go to my website, it looks like a guy who does that.
Right.
It's not just like a company that hosts trivia.
Right.
I think they see that guy, hopefully, because I'm plastered everywhere. And they're
Right.
like, oh, that looks like a guy that does what we're looking for. So
Yeah.
I think that does help. But yeah, I got to hang out with Brett Goldstein, got a selfie with him, who plays Roy Kent on the show, one of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah.
I got to high five Jason Sudeikis on stage. That was really fun. So
That's awesome.
Every once in a while, something pops up like that, and my wife goes, "What do you do for a living?" And I go, "I don't know." We are blessed.
Does she do anything for a living? What does
She is a full-time mom, and she is actually she was a history major. So a part of us moving here, I said, if we move to Tennessee, you got to start getting into your history roots.
Yeah.
And so she's become the head archivist at the Boones Creek Historical Society.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's 2 minutes down the street from our house, and they do a thing there called the Boones Creek Opry, which is great.
Yeah.
And our kids take piano lessons there.
That's
and
awesome.
Shout out to Miss Vicky, who runs a tight ship over there. And my wife, Ashley, is really getting a kick out of just handling old documents that people donate. She had a ledger the other day from the 1870s, I think it was, and it was a doctor's ledger, and it just was what he did for someone and what they paid him. So it was like, fixed John's shoulder, payment 2 chickens.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So, and she's like, sending me pictures of this stuff and carefully preserving it. So it's a lot of fun for both of us to live here.
That's awesome. I guess she could be a historian for you too, like a living, keeping it going. And
yeah,
because I don't know, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's on the internet, it'll be there forever.
Yes,
it may not be. Maybe one day your kids want to look back and be like, what did Dad do? And
also, if you Google certain things on the internet, it's like Ryan Budd's net worth $10 million, and I'm like, I want to meet that Ryan Budds.
Yeah,
that sounds like a cool dude.
Yeah, he does. Man, that's pretty impressive. Good job, Ryan.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about like your business some more, because I want to know. So it sounds like it's maybe a franchise, but you're looking for guys kind of like yourself to host these events in places all over the country, right?
Yeah, in California especially, all my trivia hosts are ex-trivia players for the most part. So they're people that would come every Tuesday, 7 to 9 for years, and I got to know them. And when I moved, I said, hey, you're here anyway. Do you want to make a few bucks to host it? Oh, yeah. And those people make the best hosts because they know the ins and outs of the game.
Sure.
They know how to explain everything, and they enjoy playing it and hosting it. So that's kind of my method for finding hosts. But
what
yeah,
are some criteria for the host? Because they just can't be like a super introverted person.
Right. You got to be, who make great trivia hosts are people that work in retail because they're used to talking to people every day, that come into a shop or something, or teachers or substitute teachers, just talking in front of a class, actors, comedians, voiceover artists, things like that. But people who are just enthusiastic about that kind of nerd culture that you mentioned, that helps out really well. If you're a big Star Wars fan, you're probably, for the most part, if you're dressing up, going out in public and things like that, and you can talk in front of a group, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of those guys who dress up don't say much. They've got the mask on. They're just walking around going, I am Darth Vader.
That's true. What's your thing? What's your biggest, if I said I'm doing a trivia round on blank, what would you be good at, Colin?
Oh, probably golf stuff.
Golf trivia?
Yeah.
You got to swing down, huh?
Oh, definitely, for sure on that one. Yeah, I don't know. This is where I'm not great at trivia. My wife is great. She is fantastic. Carly is in the know on a lot of stuff. I don't watch the news much. I don't check out.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Like I kind of just hide out and.
I got a golf question for you. You might know it. What is Tiger Woods' legal first name? You know that one?
Oh, Elgin.
Close. Eldrick.
Eldrick.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Elgin's a town in Illinois, though.
That's right. And I had a buddy from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, outside. Yeah. Anyway, that's awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
I love it. Yeah, so I'm not great at trivia. So when we do it, my friends are like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm 100% on this one.
If you were at one of my nights and you wrote down Elgin and the G was kind of scribbled off, I would have been
you would have like, I'll let you have it.
That looks like Eldrick.
You're not very smart. It's okay. Yeah. I think probably having some sarcasm and wit as your persona probably helps as well.
Definitely.
Because if you're coming out for trivia, you're looking for a good time, and you're going to have to put your ego on the shelf because you don't know all the answers.
Yep. And, I'm not a perfect guy, so there's I would say at least once a month, at least a couple typos, and if I display the questions, they're like, that's the wrong version of 2. And I'm like,
You got me.
I go, do you still know the answer? They go, yeah, we just wanted you to know.
Yeah, you're like, you got me.
Yeah. All right.
So talk about where listeners can come and find you and watch or get, like participate with the
Sure.
trivia.
Yeah. Triviawithbuds.com is my website.
Okay.
BUDDS. Ryan Buds is my name. Triviawithbuds.com. There's at the very top, it says Tennessee shows and California shows. So if you click on Tennessee shows, you can see where I'm at about 7 or 8 nights a week. Lots of different options to choose from. Places like Awfully Social, a dog park with a bar in it in
Yes.
central Johnson City. That's a great spot every Wednesday night. Johnson City Brewing Company, Boones Creek, Watauga Brewing Company.
So you're the reason that the Boones Creek Road is all blocked up.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah, I mean, it is ridiculous. Like
That's the closest place that I have to my house. So I love hosting there because if I have a few too many, my wife will actually come pick me up. Otherwise, she goes, take a lift.
or you could walk home.
Or I could be, a nice
Just
little
walk it off, Ryan. That's hilarious.
Another thing people can find is anywhere they listen to podcasts, maybe like yours, Colin.
Oh, yeah.
We have a Trivia with Buds podcast that comes out Monday through Friday.
Nice.
I put out about 2,400 episodes of that. So they're all short rounds of trivia, about 10 minutes long or shorter. And great for road trips because you can kind of pause it, yell out the answer with people in your car.
That is fun.
A lot of people find it on road trips when they're kind of just bored. They search the word trivia, which is what you can do.
Yeah.
Search the word trivia, find Trivia with Buds, and you can find, like last week, for example, we did all Ted Lasso themed trivia Monday through Friday, and I told that story that I just told you with some more details and things. So people can find that wherever podcasts are found, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff.
What does Ted Lasso make his boss every day?
Oh, those little biscuits in the pink box, which I got to bring home a box of for my
What?
wife. They had them they had a pyramid of those cookies in the boxes at the event.
Oh my gosh.
And I got to bring home some, and they were delicious. They were tasty shortbread cookies, which you would imagine when they eat them on the show, you're like, I wonder what that tastes like. And it mashed up my expectations.
And I think it's funny, like, because you're like, oh, like, how many takes do they have to do? And,
Yeah.
you know, she's eating lots of cookies. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure they're like, but it's just neat. I love the show. It's so brilliant.
It's a feel-good show. And
Yeah.
I hope that they either somehow keep it going or they do a spin-off or something.
Yeah.
My brother had an idea. He goes, what if they end this 3 seasons, writer's strike when it comes back, they do a show called Roy Kent.
Oh.
And they just have Roy Kent come to America to coach soccer.
Other side, yes.
And I'm like, that's genius. That's perfect.
That
you
would
know,
be
and then it focuses on that character, and you can bring in, you know, those cameos from those other characters, but create a whole new world with him in the U.S. I was like,
Yeah.
that's it. We should make that.
That is awesome.
That's
yeah.
good.
Well, I'm on your website now, and it just looks brilliant. You've
Oh,
done
thank
a
you so much.
Great job. It's very clean, easy to navigate. So go to triviawithbuds.com. Check him out. It's a lot of fun.
There's a half-hour video there to watch the whole Family Guy show.
Oh,
from
nice.
Comic-Con 2021. So you could watch me yuck it up with Seth MacFarlane, Seth Green, Mila Kunis, Alex Borstein. Really fun experience. And it was all virtual, so I didn't have to go anywhere.
That's really cool. That's really cool. What's the? I know you said you'd like to get it to about 50. What do you see for the future of Trivia with Buds, like in 5 years down the road?
5 years down the road, maybe a few hundred locations scattered around the country. Successful podcasts that I can still put out daily.
Yeah.
And a lot of charity work. A lot of, in 5 years, ideally, I'll be at a point where I can really start to contribute to Johnson City. Because after 2 years, I already feel like I owe this area so much. So
Where is your heart there in the? I mean, let's talk about charity. Where would you go first if you could start today?
You know, I work with a charity I want to give a shout out to called Waiting to Hear that gives deaf kids cochlear implants and hearing related services in Northeast Tennessee.
How cool is that?
And we are doing a huge show at my clubhouse HOA in my neighborhood where I live.
Nice.
On June 9th, Friday, June 9th at 6 p.m. It's a charity bingo show.
Oh, fun.
And the first half of it, we play a bunch of bingo games. We give a bunch of great local prizes like gift cards to Gypsy Circus in Kingsport, Tennessee, where I do some events, or packages to places in Gatlinburg and things like that. And the second half is a celebrity autograph auction, and we get all these great items donated for people to bid on. And one of the things that we're having up for auction is a guitar signed by Alice Cooper.
Oh, wow.
So there's some huge stuff at this thing. Tickets are on my website, triviawithbuds.com, and would love to see any locals out at that one. It's Friday, June 9th at 6 p.m. But Waiting to Hear is a great service in this region, and
That's cool.
really just helping kids to hear.
How did you get involved with that?
I was set up next to them at a toy convention when I first moved here, just kind of checking out stuff. I had a table set up, kind of promoting different things I do.
Yeah.
And they were set up next to me, and I gave you one of those pictures of me in the movie Sharknado.
Yes.
And so I was signing these Sharknado pictures for people at this toy convention, and people were donating money to me for those pictures, and I gave all that money to them because they were set up next to me. And they said, "Oh man, we got to do some events with you," and we've done probably 7, 8 events in the last couple of years. And they're just great group of people, great families that have firsthand experience in kids being able to hear. So
That's awesome. I think
Yeah.
it's always neat how we get involved with charities or how the Lord pricks your heart for something to.
Of course.
It's like, yeah, because it's not all about us.
The older I get, the more I realize that,
It really is. And kids, man, they
Yep.
will teach you. I think the Lord gives us kids to teach us how selfish we are.
Yep.
Because we like go, oh, well, I don't want to get up and feed this little baby right now or walk him down the hall for the next 4 hours, but you know what? I've got to do it.
Gotta do it.
Yeah, right. That's right. And then later on, you're like, okay, well, I still have that giving mentality and that my heart, to serve.
Exactly.
And so I think it's great that you're plugged in with that. And that's an awesome organization that I didn't even know about. And I thought I knew about all the charities in our area.
Everyone can check them out at waitingtohear.org.
Yeah, that's super cool. Okay, so let's talk about if you were listening and you might want to connect with Ryan to be one of his trivia hosts,
Yeah,
or
that'd be
like in a
great.
different city maybe. 'Cause
Sure.
we got people listening all over the world now.
That would be fantastic. You can
fantastic.
email me, ryanbuds@gmail.com, or again, go to the website, triviawithbuds.com. There's a contact form on every page of the site, which I was told recently is something you should have, and I never thought about it. I
Yes.
just had one contact page,
Yeah.
and they said, don't put any friction. You know that word, you hear that
Make
word,
it easy.
friction. Make
Yeah.
it easy for anybody, if they're on any page of your site, to go, oh, I want to message this guy. They can do it from any page. So there's a little digital tip that someone just gave me, after 13 years in this business, just last year. So
That's awesome. And then even on the bottom, it's got trivia. Like, what was
Yeah.
the first soda consumed in space?
what was it, Colin?
It's Coca-Cola.
There you
didn't-
go.
Did you know? I didn't know that.
You'll remember that forever.
I will remember that forever. Coke was the first. They've been the first on a lot of stuff.
That's
for sure.
true.
Okay, so I just think it's cool that you created this business out of like just a passion for trivia. I mean, it's just neat. Do you just kind of look back and go, all right, this is, I think I'm just blessed to be doing this? Or
Very, very blessed. Every day I think about it. And like I mentioned, my wife saying, what is your job? I ask myself that all the time when I get these kinds of
Isn't it
emails.
crazy?
Do you want to host trivia for the cast at one of your favorite shows? And I'm like, yes, I would love
Would I
to.
love to go meet all the people from Ted Lasso? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, let's roll.
I sure would. So yeah, I work for 2 hours a night most nights. And during the day, maybe another couple hours.
Yeah.
Preparing things. A lot of my work, so to speak, is literally just talking. So I've always been good at that.
Yeah.
Sometimes so good I got in trouble for it in school. But being able to take what I feel is my strongest skill and turn it into something that is lucrative, fun, charitable, all that stuff added up is a dream come true. And I tell my wife frequently, I say, all my dreams have come true, so let's start working on yours.
Oh, that's a good
because
one.
I don't
Yeah.
have. I could keep doing things like the things I've mentioned,
Right.
but it would just be icing on the cake.
Yeah.
I've already got to do so many amazing things that were on my bucket list. So
Yeah.
I'm all about others and just hopefully bringing people along for the ride.
And I bet it would blow. I don't know if your grandfather's still around, but for the older generation, right? That
Yeah.
you're like talking to them and they're listening and they're like, this guy actually makes money
Yeah.
with a trivia show online or now in person,
Yep.
and then he's franchising it out and growing it. And
Yeah.
I think it's just amazing the period we're in, and I don't know where it's going to go, but
Sure.
it's just like inventive. People are just coming up with new ideas over and over.
Yep.
It just blows my mind. So I'm like just sitting here going, this is awesome. Good for you to
Thank
come
you.
up with that.
Hey, thanks so much.
So you're having a blast. You are, loving on people every time you're out there, and you're getting to do some crazy fun stuff. And
Very
so-
fun stuff. To go on your point, my dad was an iron worker his whole life.
Right.
He worked 6 or 7 days a week, most days, or most weeks. And, very dangerous job walking on those beams
Oh my
and
gosh.
dropping stuff and people falling to their deaths. And
Yeah.
I'm like, the worst thing that can happen is somebody goes, there's a typo,
Right.
That question had one wrong word, that's
Right.
about the worst that can happen.
Or
So
you're like, hey, Steve, that was the wrong answer. He's like, my name's Bill.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, my mistake. Yeah. hey, someone stole my pen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I had that answer first. Yeah.
So it is two different worlds. But my parents were always huge supporters in anything I wanted to do, and grateful to grow up that way.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a little bit about your film career because,
Sure.
I mean, I have a proof that you are a celebrity and you were in one of the greatest movies of all time, Sharknado.
Celebrity may be a strong word. I would say maybe the Z list, if that exists, of celebrities. But yeah, I was in the first Sharknado movie. I got to have my leg bit off by a shark, and I'm kind of screaming in pain for about
It
1
looks good
second
now,
of
though.
screen
I
time.
don't even
It
notice
grew back really quick,
Yeah.
yeah. But there's a picture of me floating around the internet for the last 10 years. This summer is the 10-year anniversary of the first Sharknado. They made 6 of those. I was
Are you
only in
guys
the
getting
first
back
one.
together, like bringing the band back together?
I've thought about trying to get maybe the director and some of the stars and co-stars to come out for a screening to the Tri-Cities this summer.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be kind of fun?
And trivia. You
Yeah,
could
do some trivia,
game
talk about
around
how the movie was
Sharknado.
made
Yeah.
for $1 million, which is a very low budget for a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And to this day, the picture of me from the movie is like my IMDb picture. So if you search Sharknado, if you search my name, you'll come across this crazy picture of me covered in blood, shirtless, missing a leg.
You're missing a leg. You're covered in blood. You're screaming in horror. I mean, perfect acting. I would just be.
I was in Sharknado. I was in a movie called Jurassic. Wait for it, Galaxy.
Oh.
Not the same as Park or World. But there were dinosaurs.
So close.
One did rip my throat area.
Space dinosaur.
It was a space dinosaur, very badly animated, but lots of fun in that. And then I was in a movie called. Have you heard of the movie Straight Outta Compton? It's about the rap group NWA. I was not in Straight Outta Compton. I was in Snake Outta Compton.
Oh.
Which is about a killer snake terrorizing the same area. I was
And
the
then
news reporter.
did that same snake breed and get on the plane?
I think that was the snake on the plane. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was maybe the same one.
Snakes on the plane?
Yeah, I got to be in some of the more ridiculously titled movies. And then a few different TV shows. I was on How I Met Your Mother as a roller skating
gosh.
hipster, which was fun.
Nice.
Which aired during the Super Bowl. So I was technically on a Super Bowl commercial
Sweet.
advertising that. That was kind of fun. And I worked on Tosh.0 for about a year. I worked on Ridiculousness for about 3 years. Minute to Win It. Just a lot of kind of a cornucopia of interesting things, but fun experiences all around.
And looking back, like on your career, again, you're probably like, wow. Do you have any advice for people who are saying like, hey, this sounds like something I want to do?
Sure. Yes.
How would you get involved? Like, or if you had to do it over, I mean,
Yeah.
would you do
I
it
would
differently?
always say to try everything. Don't ever be afraid to, make a small lie to get something. When I was on How I Met Your Mother, they said, now we need people who can roller skate. Can you do that? And I said, of course. And they said, now you're not just saying that. A lot of people just lie about skills to get on these shows. And I said, I'm roller skating right now. Hung up, never roller skated in my life. And I'm like, all right, got to figure this out.
Let's go.
In 3 days, rented
Yeah.
a pair of roller skates, did laps around my pool at my apartment complex and got the hang of it. Got there to the set, and the other 3 people that were also roller skating that day had also lied about roller skating. And I ended up being the best roller skater. And they were
Nice.
like, Ryan, can you show these guys the ropes? I'm like, no problem. So
I've been
it was
doing this for a while.
one of those things to like sometimes a white lie can work out.
Right. Or
as
in
long
your
as you
mind, you were roller skating.
as long as you can kind of back it up in some way.
Right.
So,
And it's not going to hurt anybody.
yes, yeah, exactly. So those are some interesting things I've gotten to do, and literally just try and meet all different kinds of people. I've always had the core group of guys that I grew up with in Chicago.
Yeah.
And we hang out once a year on a big trip, and it's a lot of fun. But I would say, hundreds of pockets of friends and acquaintances from doing all these different events.
Yeah.
I check in with everybody. I do a thing every year where I text every single person on my phone.
Okay.
I have like 1,500 people on my phone.
I like it.
And I just check in. Sometimes they don't respond. Sometimes I don't even know who it is. And I'm just like, hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Every once in a while, I'd say every other year, it leads to something. Somebody responds with some piece of, hey, I was just thinking about you. Can you do this thing? So that's just a little thing, especially if you're trying to get started in a new city. You don't know that many people. Start with the people you do know and see where that could lead you.
Yeah. And then surround yourself with great people.
Of course, got to do
The
that.
guys that you hung out with in high school
Yeah.
were leading you down a bad path. You could be,
Yeah.
I mean,
And sometimes they still do. But
right.
yeah. But
That's awesome.
yeah, it's all about those circles you're in, and trying to find the best people in your circles.
And continuing to connect with them. It's about life is about relationships, right? And
Yep,
so how do we
100%.
continue to keep those going? And you never know
And now
where.
I know you.
That's right. And we're gonna do some trivia sometime. And you're gonna be like, Carly is way better than you for sure. What are you listening to right now, or what's your favorite podcast out there besides Trivia with Buds?
For motivational stuff, I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Gary V. Love anything. Love his book Crushing It, which
Yeah.
is came out probably 5-6 years ago, but it's about gives great examples of entrepreneurs and how they got started. And I'm a big guy that learns by example. Like, I have to kind of see how it works first, and then I can try it. So I love the case studies in that book. And whenever I'm like, I got to put something into my business today, I'll go listen to a couple of his shows, and that kind of motivates me. So I love that. I'm a huge Dave Ramsey advocate. Love Dave Ramsey. I'm sure you know all about him, especially in this region.
Yep.
Dave Ramsey helped us get out of debt to be able to buy a house and to kind of grow where we are at to be comfortable now.
Yeah.
So that those two, it's like Dave for the principles, Gary for the motivation. I
And
think
like for the reach, Gary's like a risk taker. He's like,
he
go
is,
for it.
and he's a riot. You know,
And
he's
Dave's on the other side. He's very solid.
yes. So I think the combination
Save
of
enough
those
money
two.
to buy your house cash. I'm like, I don't know. I know a couple people are doing that. But
So the combination of those two are great. And I'll give a shout out to Brett Goldstein's podcast, who plays Roy Kent on Ted Lasso, which I started listening to on the plane ride back because everyone was talking about it
That's
at
fun.
that backstage area for the show. I did. And it's called Films to Be Buried With. And he interviews people on their favorite movies. He's a huge cinephile. And he basically tells you have died, and you have to explain how you died in sort of a humorous way. And then in that way, he's like, all right, now you're in heaven, and you can only bring a certain movie. And he asks very interesting questions, and it's a really fun and funny show to listen to. So I've been going through the different guests that I am fans of with that show.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. What didn't I ask you that you wish I had, or anything you want to share that you didn't have an opportunity to?
You know, I think we covered a lot of ground around here, and I feel pretty good about everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you missed a beat.
Okay. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Sure.
Do you have a joke? Because you said you used to be a stand-up comedian a
Sure.
long time ago. So I think a joke would be great if you've got something good. Just to,
Oh man, like I said, I haven't done stand up in about 5 years, so I'm trying to think.
well, we're sitting down right now. So you can
Yeah,
just sit down.
that's true. This is sort of a conversational bit we could do. Let's see. I'm trying to think of one that doesn't have a swear word.
A bad word? You
And
could
that
probably
it seems like only the ones coming to the surface of the swear word.
I got you. Okay. Well, we can pass. We can pass and come back. Favorite place to get tacos? You and Ashley are out going to get a taco. Where are you going to go?
You know, we like right down the street. What is it called?
White Duck?
No, right down here. Holy
Taco.
Holy Taco. Yeah.
There you go.
We love the queso there. So like queso on anything there is
Got
great.
chorizo in there. It's
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
very, very good. I'm a big fan of all the Holy Taco locations. Those
Oh
are
yeah,
great.
they're good. Jesse does a great job. Date night. Where are you guys going?
We love live music. You know, the Down Home. That's a fun date night.
There you go.
Old school music venue, listening room, right down the street from where we're at now. We saw a band there twice called the Hog Slop String Band.
Yeah.
They're bluegrass, real upbeat, real fun. And highly recommend that band and that venue if you want sort of a unique experience. The owners told me Taylor Swift has performed there, Chris Stapleton, you know,
Like
before they were
almost
huge.
anybody, right?
Yeah. And so that's kind of a hidden gem, I think. With also another hidden gem right next to it down the street is the Windsor Speakeasy. So
Oh yeah.
I think those are all great date nights, all those things together. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's your favorite? What's your restaurant you're going to take your kids to?
Ooh, restaurant that I would take my kids to in the area. You know what I'll say? Tiebreakers, the arcade.
Oh yeah.
Where I do a monthly show. Shout out to
Nice.
Tiebreakers. We do the last Sunday of every month there, a trivia show. But that place has a little bit of different types of entertainment for everybody. And surprisingly, one of the best, I think, menus in the Tri-Cities. I mean, like, they have like a filet you can get there that's like fantastic.
Yeah.
And
We were there
salmon.
one night, and it was like I was like, really?
Yeah, for an
I was expecting,
arcade,
like,
you would not expect it.
cheese fries, and
'cause
that's about it.
Even like a Dave and Buster's, their menu's not blowing you away. But everything at Tiebreakers I've had, and I message the owner every picture. I'll take a picture and go, this is like the best version of this thing I've had around here.
Yeah.
And fantastic drinks and cocktails. Like they have like fishbowl, like Vegas style drinks there.
That's cool.
So if you're looking to kind of impress somebody with some fancy drinks, that's a great place to go to.
And you can bowl.
And you can bowl, and you can do VR, and you can throw axes. And
Putt.
he told me that they're trying to get a thing with their axe throwing, because it's all a projection, and you throw axes at a real wooden wall, but it has like scores and bubbles and things to hit, like a projection.
Nice.
He said they might add in a trivia element where you have to throw an axe at the answer to the trivia question.
Ooh.
And he's like, would you want to host something like that? I'm like, that sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome.
I just got to have my, my protective gear on if the axes are bouncing. But
And you're holding it up.
Yeah.
Like these are the answers.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
this one or this one?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Sure.
That'd be bad. All right. Last question. What gets you fired up? What like just inspires you? You like just are jacked after you like hear it, see it, listen to it, do it.
I wrote down a little note on the Stickies app on my MacBook the other day. You can make these little sticky notes. And I was like, I was just having a really good day. And I've never done this before, but I wrote down like 5 or 6 bullet points. I said, what made today a great day?
That's great.
And that was fun to kind of like think about and reflect on. And then now I can look at that sticky note and go, all right, let's try and have one of those. You know? Things like got to play with the kids, got to make my wife laugh, got to further the business in some way, whether it was a relationship with you today or income from a new venue that opened up, or just that little excitement you get about, oh, it's growing, instead of just staying stagnant. Got to talk to relatives in some way, my mom or my brothers or something like that, my sister. And then some sort of religious experience. I got to pray, got to go to church. And when you put all those together, that I believe is like a perfect day.
Yeah.
And those are rare, but they become more and more frequent the more you think about what makes a perfect day. So
yeah, that's interesting you say that. It's just neat how things pop up. And there's a friend of ours, Ben Kinney, who has this 15-point plan. There's a 15-point plan podcast you can check out.
Oh, cool.
He has come up with 15 things. If you do these 15 things during the day, it's going to give you energy, it's going to give you life, and it's going to help you have a great day. And so how do you kind of hit those things like you're saying? So
exactly.
You'd have a checkoff list like, oh, okay, I made Ashley laugh. I played with the kids.
Yeah.
Got to pray this morning. Boom. I'm, feeling better, work out.
Hydrate, that exercising is
Yeah.
also a bullet point on there because I've noticed how much better I feel.
Oh my gosh.
Just after the last 2 months, like, oh, why haven't I been doing this my whole life?
It's amazing. I'm a much better person the mornings I go and work out.
I hear you. I hear you.
All right. Anything else you want to share? Did you come up with a joke that doesn't have a cuss word? You know what's brown and sticky?
What's that?
A stick.
Oh, you want these kind of jokes?
Little dad joke there to end on for you.
Oh, I love it.
All right, folks. Well, I want you to come out and meet Ryan Buds on a trivia night, and I'm going to do it. Carly and I are going to be there for sure. And we keep having friends invite us out for trivia, and it's hard to get out because there's so many people because you're so popular.
Oh, thanks, man.
Which is fun. So thank you for coming on our podcast. And
it was a treat.
And we thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you got something out of it today. I hope you connect with Ryan. If nothing else, you watch Sharknado, because I'm going to do it. I haven't ever, I heard about it, but I never watched it. So anyway, I'm excited to see it. Till next time, I'm Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. If you need to move to Johnson City to live near Ryan, I'd love to help you do that. We also help people build wealth through real estate, and we do a lot of property management there too. So connect with me, connect with Ryan, and just have a great day.